So the Canadian Prime Minister announced his resignation, allegedly. Let's check it out and see what he had to say.
We're seeing Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau step up to the microphone now. Let's listen in.
Bon matin. Every morning I've woken up as Prime Minister. I've been inspired by the resilience, the generosity, and the determination of Canadians. It is the driving force of every single day I have the privilege of serving in this office. That is why, since 2015, I've fought for this country, for you, to strengthen and grow the middle class. Why we rallied to support each other through the pandemic, to advance reconciliation, to defend free trade on this continent, to stand strong with Ukraine and our democracy, and to fight climate change and get our economy ready for the future. We are at a critical moment in the world. You all know I'm a fighter. Every bone in my body has always told me to fight because I care deeply about Canadians, I care deeply about this country, and I will always be motivated by what is in the best interest of Canadians. And the fact is, despite best efforts to work through it, Parliament has been paralyzed for months after what has been the longest session of a minority parliament in Canadian history. That's why this morning I advised the Governor-General that we need a new session of Parliament. She has granted this request, and the House will now be prorogued until March 24th. Over the holidays, I've also had a chance to reflect and have had long talks with my family about our future. Throughout the course of my career, any success I have personally achieved has been because of their support and with their encouragement. So last night over dinner, I told my kids about the decision that I'm sharing with you today. I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process. Last night, I asked the President of the Liberal Party to begin that process. This country deserves a real choice in the next election, and it has become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot be the best option in that election. A new Prime Minister and leader of the Liberal Party will carry its values and ideals into that next election.
Go ahead and reset y'all browser. If y'all frozen, it's not on my side, it's on YouTube's side. Go ahead and reset y'all browser.
I'm excited to see the process unfold in the months ahead. We were elected for the third time in 2021 to strengthen the economy post-pandemic and advance Canada's interests in a complicated world. And that is exactly the job that I and we will continue to do for Canadians. Merci beaucoup, mes amis.
Thank you, Prime Minister. We'll now go to questions, starting with Laurence Martin.
So, do y'all think that this is a sign of strength, or do you see this as a sign of weakness? Do you see this as a sign of strength, or do you see this as a sign of weakness? If you guys are having problems, just refresh. I see this as a sign of weakness, and let me tell you why. The reason that I see this as a sign of weakness is because he was basically bullied into doing what he did. He was bullied into leaving office. He was bullied into resigning. And it's funny because once Trump took office, you could see the shift immediately. Trump never even respected him. Trump started calling him the governor of Canada and started disrespecting Canada and saying that they should wind up becoming the 51st state of the United States of America. He is a feminist. He is the person that said that he would stand with women, and he didn't like the fact that the United States of America didn't elect Kamala Harris over Trump after he made a trip over to Mar-a-Lago. His entire parliament had lost trust in him. He had started fumbling, and when Trump said that he was going to start putting tariffs on the Canadian economy, he had people within his own cabinet start to resign. You started to see the fall of Justin Trudeau even more than before Trump wound up winning the election. He is absolutely one of the most feminine, weakest leaders that I've seen in my entire life, which also lends conversation to the fact that we did the right thing in not electing Kamala Harris to be president of the United States of America. It just is what it is. We did the right thing in not electing Kamala Harris to president of the United States of America. Why? Because world leaders, our own legislation, his own legislation, didn't even like him and didn't even stand with him because they seen blood in the water. You need strong, masculine men that stand on principles and is also willing to negotiate and look at things from a business perspective to be leaders. The reason why he was pushed out is because he's weak, and his weakness was shown in everything that he did as a part of the Canadian Prime Minister's Parliament and what it is that they was doing from a government perspective. Everybody, the world seen him as weak. And once they start to lose confidence in him and people start to resign, he became shark food. That's it. Trump didn't even respect. Trump would never say that about some of our toughest adversaries. He would never say that about Xi Jinping in China. He doesn't even say that about North Korea, Kim Jong-un. He don't say it about Vladimir Putin. He does not say that about any of our adversaries, the people that we not necessarily enemies with, but absolutely want to unseat United States of America as the number one world power. He has no sentiment towards like that with the other world leaders. He shakes their hand, he goes and meet with them, he has conversations because they are masculine, they are men, and that is reflected in the decisions that they make on a regular basis. He looked at him and he said, "Hey man, y'all should just become 51st state of the United States of America." Hey man, shout out to the governor of Canada, Justin Trudeau. He embarrassed him in front of all of his friends down at Mar-a-Lago at the table. He's looked at as weak. That's just the facts.
Radio-Canada.
Bonjour, Monsieur Trudeau. Vous vouliez le faire, ce combat contre Pierre Poilievre. Des batailles internes, il y en a dans votre parti depuis plusieurs mois déjà. Pourquoi est-ce que vous décidez d'abdiquer maintenant? Qu'est-ce qui vous a fait changer
Why did you decide to resign now after all the squabbles in the party over the past months? I'm not somebody who recoils easily before such enormous challenges before the
Oh, they
party and
doing
the country.
translations.
But I
Of Trudeau jumping before he's pushed?
Absolutely, 100%. And he basically said so in the last few moments there that we heard from him. He said, look, I can't possibly fight what will be an incredibly difficult election campaign for a government that's almost a decade old if I have to continually fight these internal battles. Now, look, there have been a long list of scandals as well as some achievements that he outlined there. But again, so many members of his own government coming to him and saying, we don't believe that you can beat conservative leader.
That's the same way that they pushed out Biden, ain't it?
Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre in the next election, an election that has to be held by the end of the year. And Pam, as I've been saying all morning, stop me when this sounds familiar. This really leaves his party in a tough squeeze. The polls already indicate that they are more than 20 percentage points behind, and now they're going to have this succession battle, and it will be rough with a lot of different people putting their hat in the ring. In the meantime, you have President-elect Trump coming into office, I don't have to remind you, in 2 weeks, threatening 25% tariffs on all Canadian goods imported into the United States. It is a tall order by any stretch. He will stay to be a so-called caretaker prime minister, but also Parliament will not be
So basically, he's a lame duck. He's a lame duck prime minister.
sitting, and that'll be interesting because it means that no government business can basically get done. It's really just governing.
Brian, I am not at home. I am at a hotel. Okay? I am at a hotel. I am not at home. So you telling me to change my Wi-Fi and all of that, that is not relevant here. That has nothing to do with this stream. You guys need to refresh if you are having problems because it is on YouTube side, okay?
On an emergency basis, if you will. Again, a lot of moving parts here. I will add to all of this. Canada just assumed the G7 presidency at the beginning of 2025. G7 meeting supposed to happen in Alberta, Canada in June. A lot on the plate here. And the Prime Minister really putting a personal touch on this, saying that, look, I had a discussion with my 3 children at dinner last night, and that's when I made the decision. Something we all
Nah, I'm not about to talk to my kids about being a prime minister of Canada. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do as long as it makes sense and it makes sense for the people.
know he did not want to do.
Jeff, to bring you in on this, it wasn't that long ago. It was November 29th, where Trudeau met with Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago. We have seen Trump belittle Trudeau, right? I mean, he
We
posted
sure have.
on Truth Social that he was the governor of the great state of Canada. You know, they've had a tumultuous relationship over the years, and now you have Trudeau resigning as the leader of the Liberal Party in Canada.
Certainly an extraordinary move, and one that was likely not on the mindset of the Prime Minister as he traveled down just in the weeks after the election. As you were saying, Pamela, that was a chance for Justin Trudeau to perhaps look for a lifeline from Donald Trump for his own leadership in Canada. That, of course, did not happen shortly after that dinner in Mar-a-Lago. And it was not a bilateral meeting. It was not a long conversation. Justin Trudeau was seated at a dinner table with about 10 other people or so. So perhaps that was also a sign of just the level of the meeting was rushed in some respects, but was also certainly not a long conversation about things to come. But since then, Donald Trump has been belittling and mocking the Prime Minister, of course, the beleaguered Prime Minister, as well as suggesting that Canada should be the 51st state of the United States. Of course, not going to happen regardless of who the Prime Minister is. However, this does certainly raise questions for Donald Trump as well. Will he try and involve himself in the elections in Canada? How does he deal with this caretaker government? Do the tariffs he has proposed actually go through? We shall see. There are more questions at this very moment, as is often the case here, than there are answers. But 2 weeks from now, Donald Trump, after taking the oath of office, 2 weeks and 1 hour from now, this will be his challenge and his problem as well. But for now, no question, this is a very major development that certainly was not foreseen when Justin.
He was bullied out. That's really what it all comes down to. He was bullied out. And then once Trump got elected, and then the minute that he took that flight down to Mar-a-Lago, it was over. The first person that blink loses. The first person that shows weakness loses. The minute that he took that flight down to Mar-a-Lago and he got laughed at the table, if Trump, listen, the only thing that would have been worse is if Trump made him sit at the kiddie table and eat with the children. The only thing that would have been worse is if Trump let him sit at the kiddie table. Trump knew he was out. You see Trump coming into office. There was a no confidence vote. His finance minister allegedly resigned and all of this stuff. It was over for him. It was absolutely over for him. And this is, again, why you need strong men to lead. The minute that I see a guy say, let me go ask my wife, I know it's over for him. I know it's over, but I got control. As a matter of fact, I don't even need control of you. All I need is control of your wife, and I can control everything that happens inside of your household. Do you hear what I'm saying? This is why people need strong male leadership. Is because the minute that you blink, the minute that you lose control while in the presence of other guys, they can smell blood in the water. They don't even respect you. They might even try to hit on your chick. And they know you in real life. Real talk. Shout out to Canada. Y'all got some trouble over there.